Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over some of my favorite plays for tonight's 9-game NBA slate for tonight on Draftkings. Before we continue though, if you guys could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out, really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheet I build every single night for the NBA season, links available in the description below for my Patreon, and I also recently set up a Discord chat. So if you want to join, you can hop in the Discord, ask me questions throughout the day, send in your lineups, we can critique them. There's other people in there. Be happy to help you out. We can just discuss strategy throughout the day. That's what I pretty much do. So yeah, like I said, and here's my spreadsheet. I got the player info, if I scroll over, the matchup total, the matchup column, the Vegas totals when those come out. Obviously there's a couple games that aren't out yet. The pace of play, and the advanced statistics that I use just to help make these videos, and it's what I look at throughout the day. It's updated whenever because I pull from websites, and I built projections on the end, and they've been very good this season. It's what I use to help build my lineups, and I've had a very, very good season. Finished second in my single entries last night, and yeah, it's been a very nice season. I also have my defense versus position chart, which will easily identify good matchups and bad matchups. As you can see, Atlanta, Washington, Portland, Memphis, Golden State, Cleveland, awful defensive teams. So we want to target players from those teams. And then I have my cheat sheet that I build every single night around 5 o'clock because I have to wait for news to pop up, but I will update it up until lock. So enough to sound like, sorry about sounding like a commercial, but just wanted to share this is my spreadsheet I build every single night. And if you're interested, like I said, links in the description below for my Patreon. And let's get into the video. Just zoom out a little bit. Okay, that's too much. I think that's good. Let me just make sure. All right, perfect. And actually, the first guy I want to talk about is LeBron. So let's just talk about him first. Now, is he my favorite play in the slate? He is not. But let's just talk about him first. So there's no guards on this slate that jump out to me, and that's why I want to talk about him. Because originally, when I was going through I make some notes beforehand because I can't remember every single stat. But I had some notes, and I originally didn't have LeBron here because I was like, well, I'm probably not going to play him tonight. But there is a lack of guards here. As you're going to see, I'm going to talk about a lot of power forwards and centers on this slate, and I'm just not finding any guards I like at this moment. I mean, there's like one or two. Obviously, things can change throughout the day, but so when I was going through it, and I didn't like any of the guards. I'm like, well, shoot, maybe I should consider paying up for LeBron just because there's a lack of guards on this slate. But not totally sure yet. He's not my favorite spend up, but we will see. But he's going to be on a back-to-back, but LeBron said him and Anthony Davis are good to go, so that's a nice sign. And he's leading the league in assists right now, 11.3 assists per game. Just been an absolute assist machine. If I just pull up the game log, I mean, 14, 10, 12, 11, 12, 11, 15, and 6, but then 11, 13. The guy has been an amazing distributor this season. He's got a 52.2% assist rate. Insane numbers right there. And he's at 1.56 points per minute and a 30.9% usage rate this season. And it's a really good matchup versus Memphis. They are the fourth worst defensive team just in total in terms of giving up fantasy points. And Memphis also plays fast, so I do love pace-up spots. They play the sixth fastest pace of play this season, and the Lakers, I believe, are like 19th. So it's a nice pace-up spot there. And they are 25th versus point guards this season, and they have no one that can stop LeBron. Not like anyone does, but especially Memphis. So they're going to struggle with LeBron here. It wouldn't surprise me if he dropped 60-plus points in this matchup. Is he my favorite spend up of the slate? No, he's not a priority for me, so don't feel like you have to go out of your way to fit LeBron. But when I was just going, my first initial reaction on this slate was that there's not a lot of guards I like, so I thought I should probably mention LeBron, considering he's a point guard / small forward eligible. But originally I had Anthony Davis as the first guy I was going to talk about because I do like him over LeBron tonight. It's just that this was such a watered down position tonight because there's just so many I like. But like I said, back-to-back, but he and LeBron both said they're going to play. And he's had back-to-back 60-point outings, which was nice because he had 2 straight 30-point outings, which was a little disappointing, especially from Anthony Davis. I shouldn't say a little bit disappointing. It was very disappointing. But like I said, this is a pace-up spot versus Memphis, 6th fastest pace of play, 4th worst defensive team. And they struggle down low, and they struggle versus point guards and shooting guards. Well, they pretty much struggle everywhere. They're 22nd versus power forwards and 21st versus centers. Anthony Davis plays both positions. He dropped 73 points in 31 minutes versus them on October 29th when, I guess it's not popping up. It did last night, but yeah, he had 73 fantasy points. Didn't play the whole fourth quarter, so that was a monster game. Not saying he's going to do it again, but there's no one that's going to be able to stop Anthony Davis here. And he's getting 35 minutes per game, 1.42 points per minute, 30.4% usage rate. I think Anthony Davis is an excellent play tonight. So if you want to play him over LeBron, I think that's definitely viable because I prefer him over LeBron, and he's much cheaper. He's $1,100 cheaper. So do like Anthony Davis quite a bit. It's just that there was just so many power forwards and centers on this slate that I liked. I figured I should probably mention LeBron as well. One of my favorite plays in the slate is Andre Drummond at 8,300, and he is just mispriced here. He was 8,500 last night, and he dropped 50 points, and they dropped his price. So I don't know what DraftKings is doing. The pricing this year is awful, but I guess I can't complain because it's been a nice season, but their pricing has been bad. It leads to a lot of chalk every single night. So it kind of turns into like 5v5s instead of how many players do you put in your spot. I don't even know. But anyway, yeah, a lot of people just have half of the same lineup. So not the full same lineups, but a lot of people have like 5 of the same players in their lineups every single night. But anyway, like I said, only 8,300. And Blake Griffin, it's a back-to-back. I haven't seen anything official, but I have to imagine he's not playing. He sat last time they were on a back-to-back. So assuming Blake Griffin's not playing here, with Blake off the court this season, Drummond has a 1.54 points per minute and a 26.4% usage rate. These are elite numbers, and at 8,300, that's an absolute steal. We were paying like $10K for the guy when Blake Griffin wasn't playing, so I don't see why we wouldn't play him at 8,300. I expect him to be very popular tonight, and he was 75% owned with Blake Griffin last night, so I can only imagine he's going to push 80-90% tonight, and there's no reason for him not to. He should be able to hit over 50 points again. In Milwaukee, it's a good matchup, 18th versus centers, and I think he's definitely someone you want to lock in your cash games. He's probably going to be the first guy I go to for sure. So Andre Drummond, I like him a lot, and you should too. Sabonis at 8,100, I like him quite a bit as well. So no Vucevic, and that's the big thing here because he's a very good defensive player. So that's going to make it a little bit softer down low for against the Orlando Magic. And I don't typically like to play guys versus Orlando, but with no Vucevic, I think Sabonis is going to be fine here. Not like he's the center, but him and Miles Turner are both going to be down low, and obviously Vucevic being gone just definitely helps them both out. But like I said, I don't like targeting guys versus Orlando because they are very, very slow. They are 30th in pace, and they're a very good defensive team. I believe they're top 5 just in total, but in their second versus centers, but 16th versus power forwards. So it's not like they've been great versus power forwards anyway. And then with no Vucevic, it just opens up some more down low. And the guy's a double machine. 9 out of his 10 last games, he's had one. And the one he didn't, he still had 49 fantasy points. I mean, if you just look at his game log, 18 and 16, 14 and 11, 13 and 18, 16 and 18, 16 and 21, 14 and 17, 17, 13, 17, 18. The game he didn't have a double-double, he had 8 rebounds, but 29 points, still good for 48 fantasy points. Then versus Detroit, the last on this game log, he had 21 points and 14 rebounds. The guy has been excellent. So I like him a lot, and for some reason he was only 7,300 last game. That made no sense at all. He was extreme chalk that night, but he was easy chalk. I mean, they dropped his price to 7,300 versus Brooklyn. That made no sense whatsoever. They blew them out. They only played 29 minutes, but he still had 47 fantasy points. So there's just no reason not to like him tonight. 8,100 is still a decent price for him. It makes you think about it a little bit, but I think at 8,100 he's still fine. He's seeing 34 minutes per game, 1.26 points per minute, and a 24% usage rate this year. I think he's a very good play, so I don't mind Sabonis. And as you're going to see, I apologize, but I'm going to talk about a lot of power forwards and centers on this slate because that's just what I'm seeing as of right now. Hopefully some more guards pop up to me during the day, but I don't know. As of right now, I'm not seeing many, but I might have to just go with someone I'm not too comfortable with. Although sometimes that works out because last night on my main lineup, I wasn't comfortable with my lineup. I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to lose all my money tonight. I did not like my lineup. I had Luka, which I like Luka. But then I had Cody Zeller, Miles Bridges. That was the one guy I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to play Miles Bridges on my main lineup, especially for cash. He scored 49 points. I was like, all right, I'll take it. I was not expecting 49 points. And then Tobias Harris, I thought he was a good value play, but I'm not a big Tobias Harris guy. He dropped like 46. I mean, I guess that worked out. So maybe sometimes just whenever you're not too comfortable with the guy, that's when they go off, you know. But yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of guys I love tonight at the guard position, but we'll have to make do. So, but anyway, Kevin Love, he's 100 cheaper than Sabonis here, and I think he's a fine GPP play, not someone I typically play, even though I'm a big Cavs fan. And I guess I shouldn't say I'm a big Cavs fan. I don't love the Cavs as much as the Indians or the Browns, but I am a Cavs fan. But both teams are just dumpster fires on offense, or on defense, I should say. Portland's bad on defense, and so is Cleveland. I could see this being a decently high-scoring game here. Portland is the 3rd worst defensive team in total, and Cleveland is 6th. This is a really good matchup for Kevin Love. Portland is 28th versus power forwards and 27th versus centers. I think Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson should have some good games here. And this is a pace-up spot. Cleveland plays slow. They're 27th in pace this year, but Portland is 8th, and I always like guys in pace-up spots. He's getting 33 minutes per game, 1.24 points per minute, 23.2% usage rate. I think he's a fine play. Now, he has not been great this year. He's kind of hit or miss here. 16 versus Dallas. They got blown out, 101 to 40, 143. Versus Miami, he had 46 points. Versus Philly, 20 points. Versus Miami, 46 points. Then 31, 28, 38, 38, 47. He's not 52 versus Indy. Now, he's not like some consistent producer every single night, but he's got upside. He's a good player, but that's why I have him as more of a GPP play, but he should have no problem versus Portland. They suck defensively, especially versus his position. So I do think Kevin Love is an intriguing GPP play, but probably wouldn't play him in cash games. Let's see. Donovan Mitchell versus New Orleans. That could make sense. He's 7,900, and I guess he is a guard. He wasn't on my initial guys I liked, but he's had two pretty good games in a row, 41 and 44. Now he's 7,900, so it's not like that's outstanding value, but he has had upside before. He had 53 versus Memphis and then 55 versus the Clippers, and this is a great matchup versus New Orleans. They are dead last versus point guards, and I believe they're 20-something versus shooting guards. So, and it's a really pace-up spot for the Utah Jazz. They are one of the slowest teams in the league, and New Orleans, I believe, is top 3 in pace right now, and they play no defense whatsoever. So Donovan Mitchell, I think he's a fine GPP play. I've yet to play the guy this season. I just one of those guys I don't typically play, because I don't play a lot of guys in the 7 to 8K range a lot. I mean, sometimes I do, but I think Mitchell is going to be fine tonight. So if you want to use him in GPPs, I think he's okay. Eric Bledsoe, not really. Bam, no. Blake Griffin, he should be sitting. I wonder if they have any news here. Do not, but I'm expecting he sits because it's a back-to-back. If not, even if he doesn't sit, I think Andre Drummond is a fantastic play on the slate just because he's too cheap. Ja Morant is a tough matchup versus the Lakers. Let's see. Hassan Whiteside. I do have interest in Hassan Whiteside at 6,400. Now, he is questionable with the hip, so we will have to see if he plays. And if he's out, Anthony Tolliver and Scal. Am I saying this right? Labossiere. I think that's how you say it. Scal Labossiere. They both become very solid plays. Tolliver started and saw 31 minutes last game, but only 17 points, fantasy points, that is. While Scal, he saw 28 minutes and 56 fantasy points, and that's insane. He's only like 3,600 that game, too, but this is a very good matchup for Whiteside here versus Cleveland. They are 6th worst defensive team and 19th versus big men. He doesn't play big minutes, about 28 minutes per game, although he's played, in some games, he's seen big minutes. He had 35 versus San Antonio, so the upside's there. He just doesn't typically play big minutes. But that's fine because he's very efficient on the court. He's got 1.23 points per minute, so he's getting over 30 points per game. So I think Whiteside is fine versus Cleveland if he plays. If he doesn't, Labossiere and Tolliver both become excellent value plays. Although Scal's not really a value anymore. He's like, 5,600? But Tolliver, I believe, still in that 3K range. So I would have interest in Anthony Tolliver and Scal. And let's see. Who else do we want to talk about? There's not a lot of value on this slate at the moment. Things usually open up throughout the day and we get some value plays. But as of right now, it's like, 8 in the morning. So I think Tristan Thompson, like I said, I think he'd be fine. So it's just a really good matchup. He's been over a point per minute this season, seeing over 30 minutes per game. Recently, he's been in that 20-minute range. But it's a really good matchup versus Portland. They're 26 versus centers this season. So I think Tristan Thompson at 6,100 would be a fine play. Not sure if I get to him in cash games, but at 6,100, I do think he's fine. He's had some upside games before. 51 versus Washington in a good matchup. 44 in a good matchup down low versus Boston. And then, so in good matchups so far, he's had some pretty decent games. So, and, Portland doesn't have any defense down low. So I think Tristan Thompson would be fine. RJ Barrett. So, like I said, there's not a lot of guards on this slate, but I think he's one place we could look at. He's 5,700, and I've not played the guy yet this season, but he's okay at this price. There's just too many big men on my radar and not enough guards, so I had to settle for someone. So RJ Barrett, he's getting 34 minutes per game, 0.9 points per minute, which isn't great, but it's not terrible either. 24% usage rate. It's a good matchup. Spurs are 27th versus point guards and 22nd versus shooting guards. I think he's going to be fine. He's not great. 27 points, 27, 30, 19, 46 was really nice for Chicago. And 12, 18, 37, 35. He had one game over 41 minutes versus Sacramento. then 34 points. I think he's going to be in that 30-point range, and at 5,700, I will take that. So RJ Barrett, he is on my radar as of right now, just because there's a lack of guards I like on this slate. And really, there's not much else popping up to me. Obviously, Labossiere, I'd have interest in him at 5,600 if Whiteside is out. Not saying he's going to score 56 points every night, but it's a good matchup versus Cleveland, and he saw 28 minutes, so I would have interest in him. Cody Zeller. So I played Cody Zeller last night. He was very disappointing. What did he score? Like 14 points? Yeah, 14.5 points. And the past 3 games have been very disappointing for him. He started the year pretty hot, and then he cooled off dramatically. Although he's only 5,300 going up against Chicago. They are 28th versus centers, one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. If he's only going to give me like 23, 25 minutes, he's been a point per minute this year. It wouldn't surprise me if he got over 20 fantasy points, but he hasn't gotten more than 16 fantasy points in the past 4 games, and then 22 points versus Detroit. But, the minutes, I don't know, they're a little sporadic. I think as of right now, I have him projected for like 24, 25 minutes, and I think he can get a point per minute there. So I think he has 25 to 30 point upside in this matchup. So Cody Zeller, definitely on my radar. Just he's a little bit more of a risky play, and I think he's like the 5th center I've talked about at this point. But like I said, there's not a lot of guards I'm seeing. Although I do have one value guard for you guys, and it's TJ McConnell here at 3,300. Now, he is questionable, but he said he expects to play in this game, and he should see extended run with no Malcolm Brogdon, and I currently have him for about 22 minutes tonight, and he's been slightly above a point per minute on this season, so I do think it's fair to project him for around 20 points tonight, maybe a little bit more. I think I have him, for like 22 minutes, as of 22 to 20, like 20 to 23 minutes tonight, so I think he can get you over 20 fantasy points, and he's dirt cheap at 3,300, so TJ McConnell does make sense. I don't typically love playing guys versus Orlando, but not a lot of value, and as of right now, he's like the only guy I'm seeing. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. If this video was helpful, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16, and I'll see you guys in the next video.